Hey guys, got one quick tutorial before I kind of show the exporting stuff. This is just a tutorial for those of you that want to be able to create text, be able to create slides, being able to create actual visual materials in Adobe Premiere. So I'm just going to walk you through how to build kind of like stuff that involves text, because it's not super intuitive. In fact, I'd say it's kind of dumb and complicated. That's why I want you to build the stuff in After Effects. This is not necessarily what I would use Premiere for, but you may find yourself in some situations where you do need to kind of like do some of this work in Premiere. Either you want to create kind of an extra added title piece, or you want to write in some information, or you would just want to edit what you have. Makes sense. So let's jump into it. So one of the things you'll notice is that the tools here don't necessarily have a text tool or a shape tool, any of that stuff, but those tools do exist, but they only exist up here in this title marker. So what I would need to do, let's say I want to put a title at the start of this that isn't, let's say I want to put, let me mute everything in the world because this is dumb now. Let's say I want to put something over this portion that says like owl video thing. So what I would do is I'd go title, new title, and default still. I would just name it intro title, give it some kind of name. Leave it the width and height of the composition, and click OK. And you'll see immediately what pops up is what we might imagine as like something we might see in Illustrator or something we might see in Photoshop or After Effects. We start to see we have shape tools, we have text tools, we have pen tools, all that good stuff. One of the things to notice though is that this is a pop-up window, right? So like this whole window, it's enormous and it takes up the whole frame, but it is not a part of the interface. It is a separate window that exists, and that's going to come up later. So let's say I want to put some text over here that just says like best video ever. So I'm just going to do it best. Interested to see what type this is, so I'm going to go over. So all of the properties of the text then is over here, which is really weird. So I'm going to change the color of the text to like let's go with like a blue gray somewhere. That'll do. So we'll go with that. This is a terrible type, so I'm going to go over into my type and say I want it to be a nice bold thing, and I want it to be actually bold. Woohoo. Gonna put it over the middle, and why not, let's give it some color blocking. So I'm actually gonna put a block of text over it. I'm going to send the text to back. Now I'm gonna find actually where my previous text box was. There it is. And now I'm gonna change the color of my text straight on back to that background color. Wonderful. So now we got this title, and I could create shapes. I could create triangles. Oh, now I need to make sure that this stuff all works the way I want it to, which it is not. There's my fill color. So let's say I want to add weird shapes to the things. I can do that. I can add, you know, a rectangle and a horizontal piece and a line going through everything. And so normally you'd want to actually compose this. You want to make sure actual thing. It has pre-drawn styles. If I wanted to, I could take my text and I can add something like a stroke. I can add a drop shadow if I want. I can do all kinds of stuff, right? So the question now is, how do I get out of this, right? How do I get like to something else? And the way that I do that is tricky. So I've got this pop-up window, and if I X out right now, because you can see there's no like save, no submit thing, there's nothing here that just says done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this guy over to the side. I'm going to make sure it's still open somewhere. And you can see that intro title, the name of this title slide, has popped up here. And so I'm going to drag it on in over my, in a video layer over my initial video. So you can see it's popping up. Wonderful. It looks, you can see, exactly like my composition. Good, good, good. Now that it's inside my timeline, now I'm going to X out. Because there's something about once it's in the timeline, all of a sudden the whole composition recognizes it. Whereas if you just create the title and then X out before you drag it into the timeline, so before that step, for some reason the project will just delete it, thinking that you made a mistake, you didn't want to create a title, and it ruins the effect, right? So from here, I can like make this shorter, I can make it longer, I can treat it just like any other type of image. You can see I can't necessarily select those things anymore, so if I want to select them again, I just double click on my layer, and this window pops back up, and I can now edit those things. Hopefully with the skills in class where we talked about composition, how to create a frame, how to organize a frame, that should help you to actually create things that look good and better than this, obviously. But if you want to, put in a piece of color, if you want to put in some text, and you need that, like in a credit slide or something, that does exist in Adobe Premiere, and that's kind of how you get to it. The big thing to know is, how do you create titles just using new title default still? How do you create titles, and then how do you make sure the titles stay in the project once you're ready for them? When you can do those two things, you're pretty good rolling to move forward. So with that, stay tuned. The next video is going to be the final one. You might have even just skipped to it anyway, and it's all about rendering and exporting. So be sure to watch that one. It is very important. So other than that, I will see you in a future video.